What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Tuffy Talk live show. Just yesterday, I came out with a tweet and actually on the countdown tweet and ruffled some feathers saying that Chris Dunn is the GOAT. So we're going to discuss it here today, later on in the live show here, and really debate how many positions NC State truly does have an undisputed GOAT. With that being said, you got myself, Lade Smith, you got the usual crew, Ethan. You got Greg the Leg here, but you got our man Macon back with us, man. Macon, always a pleasure to have you back on, brother.
Yeah, man, glad to be back here. Been out for a little
Hey.
bit.
Yeah, no. So with that being said, first of all, Greg, you're reminding us, man, fall camp begins soon, man. It's been what 2 weeks removed here from ACC Media Day here. It's and also too as well, just for those that are that care, which I'm sure a lot of fans out there do. We will not have another Sunday until I think February, where we do not have football on Sunday. So we will not have a Sunday list football. A football list Sunday until February. So Greg, it feels pretty good, right?
I'm ready. Had a little
Yeah.
mini vacation last week and posted from the airplane that, good time. And now it's time to get locked in. So the football season and the NC State season is going to get started here real quick for us.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So, Ethan, what you most excited about right now, man?
Football season. It's right around the corner, like you said. And, the NFL, like I know we're not an NFL show, but, preseason kind of gets you into it, gets the juices flowing a little bit. I mean, fall camp, right? Greg's got us covered there. I mean, that's this week, right? So time to get excited.
Should be.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're not even going to waste any time here. We're going to jump right into our first segment here, Pack Pro of the Week.
Pack Pro of the Week.
And of course, this week is of no debate whatsoever. That is Mr. Jacoby Brissett locking in for a deal that locks him in for 2026. It's a 1-year deal worth $15.5 million with the Arizona Cardinals, with a chance to get up to $21 million here. Making just today, actually, I put out a countdown tweet showcasing Mr. Jacoby Brissett actually 12 years ago, pulling off one of the most insane individual efforts and insane plays I've ever seen, which I do kind of want to jump into a little bit of grind my gears there. But, so focusing on this part, though, locking in Jacoby Brissett for the Arizona Cardinals here, even though they drafted Carson Beck, quarterback out of Miami, he's definitely going to be the presumed lock and loaded, set it and forget it starter, at least for the first half of the season, you would imagine, and then depending on how Carson Beck develops, maybe for the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, this is a huge win for Jacoby. I mean, the Cardinals really he forced their hand, and they had no real great path to go to get the wins they needed to, and they weren't winning. Honestly, they weren't a winning program either way, and they just it's either Carson Beck or I don't even know who their other guy is in their roster right now, but it was not a lot of options for them. And I think Jacoby's contract was a 2-year contract with like something around $12 million, I think is what I saw it was, and he restructured it to now be just gives him a $15.5 million base salary, and the incentives give him a maximum value of $21 million. He doesn't add any more years to his contract. He just gets more money. So props to Jacoby. I mean, it's gonna be probably a really tough season. They do get a healthier Marvin Harrison Jr. back over there, and that'll be interesting to see what Michael Wilson can do. But he's going to have some options. They do add Jeremiah Love. I'll be curious how well that offensive line holds up for him. But at the end of the day, this is about his contract, and he won this, so good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, couldn't have said better myself. Ethan, I do want to ask you, though, one thing that did concern me, though, is there were some videos that came out, obviously focusing more on Jeremiah Love, being that he's a big, fantasy football potential prospect, and there's a lot of videos coming out of the Arizona Cardinals offensive line looking little to be desired here for sure. And so, does it concern you at all here about, I mean, I guess is a concern for Jacoby, but also too as well. Do you say that's honestly even probably a better thing in terms of potentially seeing a full Jacoby Brissett season this upcoming year? Saying, well, maybe let's not throw the rookie quarterback, into that sandstorm.
Yeah. Yeah. I to me, Carson Beck is not he's okay. Like I don't look at this as like Jacoby Brissett is just keeping his seat warm until Carson Beck takes over. And that's as somebody who has Carson Beck on a couple of my dynasty fantasy teams. Like, yeah, you think it's going to go that way, but also Beck was like a third, fourth rounder. Like, it may not happen. It may not come together for Beck. And so, you ask me, I think it's Brissett's job right now. And if he's able to keep Arizona, I mean, they had the third pick, right? So, they must have won 2-3 games last year, 4. If he's able to keep them afloat, maybe go 500, and I think he can hang on to that job. I don't think this is all right. He's going to start 4 games, 5 games, and then Beck is going to take over. I think Jacoby has an opportunity to kind of run with this, and it's a 1-year deal, and at this point in Jacoby's career, it's kind of always a contract season. Like, he's not going to get a 3-4 year deal, right? So it's all right. He's playing for this. If he does well with the Cardinals, maybe they re-up him for a year. Maybe he goes somewhere else who's got some more turnover. So I think Jacoby's got an opportunity to kind of run with the job in Arizona right now.
Yeah. Well, and Greg, I think Ethan kind of mentioned it here, but talking about Jacoby and not only just I think it speaks a lot into the fact that he's going into his, I think it was 12th NFL season. But also too, people giving him a hard time saying, why would you sit out? Because Ethan, he actually had a 1-11 record. I think you're right. The Cardinals won like 4 games last year, but Jacoby's record was 1-11, which a lot of people are saying, why would you sit out? You had a 1-11 record last year, but just like Macon said, good for him. Go get your money while you can.
Yeah, it's the NFL is a very short career for a lot of folks. He's been able to parlay that into a 12-year career being a backup. A lot of people will say that the backup is the best job in the NFL, or backup quarterback, that is. Yeah, he had, like Macon said, he had all the leverage here. I agree with Ethan. I don't think, or whoever said this is a 4 or 5 game and then hand it off to Carson Beck, they didn't pay him in that regard. Yeah, he's had success. He's been on some really crappy teams too. People forget that, I think he did get a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like
at least one, right?
I think he did with Brady. I think he did Brady.
Yeah, but yeah, but when he's had the opportunity to start, they haven't been very good teams. With the exception, I think he did fill in during Brady's suspension. That would probably been his best team that he played on. But yeah, go make that money when you can, because that well is going to dry up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, huge shout out to Jacoby Brissett for sure. Excited to see him starting on Sundays and Thursdays, whatever you know what I mean. And again, always good to have that quarterback U blood still flowing. So with that being said, though, I was kind of coming up with some plans on. Well, actually, you know what? Before I even go to the next segment, I do actually want to come out with an apology on behalf of myself and Greg, as last week's live show might have come across a little bit like this. So with that being said, I just want to apologize on behalf of myself and Greg here. As
first off,
a little bit,
keep my name out your mouth. Number 2, there were no F-bombs dropped by me.
Well, so a little bit of background here. So ever so often, depending on the time, how long the show goes, sometimes, we may say, all right, maybe it's time to drop a little nugget here. And it was funny because, what we try to do with Tuffy Talk is basically take our live show and split it into clips and post them as individual clips on YouTube. Well, so I was posting the one, which was talking about our, one offensive tackle being suspended. And when you upload on YouTube, there's one question asked you is there any profanity in the video? And you have to answer yes or no. I was like, well, yeah, but not that much. But I was like, I don't want to take it out. It's funny. It's good stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'll just add a little like bleep, over them or whatever. And it was the funniest thing. So anyway, obviously again, it's not something we do a lot, but just it was the funniest clip to edit up there. It was good stuff.
I did get a
So,
laugh when you dropped it in our
right
chat
now,
yesterday.
yeah, it was good. So, all right, jump back into it though. So again, as I was saying, last night was coming up with the plan for tonight's live show, but then all of a sudden, this morning,
All boop broke out.
all of a sudden, crap hit the wall. And so Mr. Mike Lombardi, general manager for UNC, gets gets put on administrative leave, paid administrative leave, which again, as we've said before, and as Ethan said, we are not, we're not NFL talk, we're not Ram talk. Fully understand that. So I don't necessarily want to spend too much time on the Mike Lombardi piece here, but Ethan, I'll let you go first. What was your initial reaction when you saw that pop up on your phone this morning?
My initial reaction was, how old is the girl? That was kind of my first thing. Like, it seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, I mean, my good buddy Brian Moreland put up some odds, and they were pretty good odds. I think he had a girl at plus 300, and I was like, it was definitely a girl. Plus 300 is great odds. So, no, I think like it's great to laugh at UNC's expense, but I wonder if this is UNC starting their due diligence to figure out how they can get out of this mess that they've got themselves in. Can they fire these guys for cause so they don't have to pay them? Stuff like that. Now, is Bill behind this? Obviously, that would be a different. Is he just axing somebody to kind of keep his seat warm? Is UNC doing this? Like, I'd be kind of interested to know those details. Who is behind this? But yeah, I mean, it's clearly just a mess. Is undersells it, right? And I think we all kind of know this has a lifespan on it that is coming to an end. I feel like pretty rapidly. So maybe this is the beginning of that. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely think this is something with a girl.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, obviously the fact that it wasn't even the football program that made his decision, the fact that it was the school that made the decision. It was
it's an HR
administrative.
They did say they're under investigation by the same committee that investigates NIL funding.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's actually more than just or something different than that personally, but it sounds like it's a money thing and how the benefits went out. And it might be involving a girl, maybe not for him, but I think it's a little bit more than that. So
yeah, well, I don't think it's. Go ahead, Layton.
Well, just in Greg, I was
turkey. That's why I say that.
Right. Well, and Greg, I was going to make this joke and kind of hand over to you here. Is that if you were to tell me that there was a member of the UNC football staff that got put on paid administrative leave, I would have said, well, Bobby Petrino strikes again. But nope, it wasn't Petrino.
I forgot the other day I heard somebody talking about Petrino, and I was like, man, I forgot that they got him too.
They got him because he got in a major accident in his motorcycle. It wasn't like they're just like, oh, we dug around.
Well, no, I mean, this is like his third stop since then.
You mean that the UNC got him?
Yeah,
the UNC got him.
Oh, I thought you meant like they thought that they found out about Petrino. That's why I thought that you meant that.
Oh,
sorry.
no.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, no, I think the Lombardi thing isn't directly tied to the NIL thing because HR wouldn't necessarily get involved in something like that. I don't think, like, when you hear the word HR, you feel like it's some kind of thing that was said, done, something along those lines. Now, the NIL thing, being announced around the same time, I think it kind of might get to where Layton or Ethan, whoever said it again, I'm sorry, I'm not working on a lot of sleep today, that this is the beginning of them trying to start to unravel what they have going on and to get rid of him with cause. I am curious, they had that whole exploratory trip to Saudi Arabia Lombardi did with NIL. It'd be interesting to see if it has something, the investigation has something to do with that. But it is pretty wild when it's legal to play people and you still are getting investigated by NIL. Like, it's all above board. What are you doing that's so jacked that's getting you investigated in today's world and landscape? But Yeah, I'm just gonna get my popcorn and enjoy eating it and watching from afar because it should
Yeah.
be pretty fun over the next probably, depending on how quickly it wraps, the next month to 2 months. And again, the football season starts in 5 weeks, and not that he has anything to do with day-to-day ops. I wouldn't imagine. He's
Right.
probably more of an off-season guy, being a GM. I don't think they do a whole lot during the season, but it's a, Bill always says, "Don't be a distraction."
I would say it's a distraction, but yeah, but the
Unless
thing though,
you're
which I want,
Bill.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the piece that I want to kind of tie it though to NC State, it's just a reminder to NC State fans again, is that this is a reminder of something that I feel like Coach Dorn always gets overlooked with, is that just you never see like these locker room culture issues, like
These
even the
clouds
Teddy
hanging over.
what's that?
These clouds hanging over the program.
Well, exactly. Well, because even like the Teddy Hoffman thing, like it was self-reported, like by NC State. And the only thing I can even really think of is back in 2015 when you had what was it?
Shadrach Gordon.
The
Was
paintball. Well, Shadrach, but then no, you had like the paintball gun
Paintball
fight
thing. Yeah.
or airsoft
Yeah.
gun fights.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember
at
that,
College
yeah.
Inn, whatever.
That's just kids
So
being dumb. I mean, that's
well,
not
exactly.
in the grand
But
scheme of things. It's not like some of the things. Like it's not. Again, I don't want to make light of it, and he's with the Bucks now, but it's not Reuben Bain Jr. driving and killing someone, or
Right.
Georgia with 3,000 speeding tickets. Like it's not that.
Correct. Agreed. So yeah. So just setting out a reminder is, again, I fully understand with Coach Dorn. We want the ACC championship ceiling, but once again, it's a coach that brings in players that are going and staff that are going to represent NC State at the level that it should, and also to put on the field a great product that gives you a really solid floor almost every single year. So, but again,
But real
let's
last,
break
the
through
last
here.
thing, this isn't new for Lombardi. Like everything that I've
No,
seen
right.
and read and heard, like he has this reputation. Like he's kind of a D-bag. And he's, was voted multiple times top 5 worst person in the league, and has disappeared from time to time, doesn't tell people what's like. This seems to be his MO. And I think his greatest success is riding Bill Belichick's coattails. Like that's kind of how he's gotten where he's gotten. And again, hey, if it works, ride that pony until it collapses like Seabiscuit.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we're going to jump on over to another segment here in Ethan's Step. One more time. For your business, school, church, team, organization, Alpha Wolf CPR Trainings makes it easy by bringing the training directly to you. Alpha Wolf CPR Trainings makes it easy by bringing the training so that way you can get certified by the American Red Cross licensed training providers, offering adult and pediatric first aid, CPR, and AED certification courses. With successful completion, participants receive an official American Red Cross certification valid for 2 years and a meeting OSHA standards. Convenient, professional, always there when you need them. So make sure to go and check them out today at alphawolfcpr.square.site today. Ethan, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like about what NC State did in the portal this year, I thought defensively they went out and they got a playmaker at every position. They added an impact piece, somebody who has produced at this level. Now Harvey Dyson was at Tulane, so don't nitpick it. No, don't nitpick that. It was the AAC, but it was a playoff team, right? We know that was a good football team. And so for me, it's those 3 guys. King Mack coming over from Penn State at safety. It's Popo Aguirre coming over at linebacker from Miami, and Harvey Dyson. Whether you want to call him a linebacker, defensive end, whatever, I call him an edge rusher from Tulane. Those 3 guys last year combined for 137 tackles, 13.5 tackles for a loss, 8.5 sacks. Now, obviously, a lot of those TFLs, a lot of the sacks were Dyson. He had 8 sacks, 8 out of the 8.5. So you didn't necessarily get a ton of that from Aguirre and Mack, but they totaled 5 passes defense, which is on Sport Reference. I think they're pretty conservative with those numbers. So I'm certain that number would be higher if you were using a different rating system. or I guess a different stat. Somebody who's dishing those out. So I really like the impact that State has brought in on 3 levels. And we talk about, do you rely on what you have internally? Do you bring guys in? And I think State brought 3 guys in who have produced at this level. You have Dyson who can get after the quarterback. I don't want to say as well as anybody, but it does kind of feel like that. Like 8 sacks is a lot. I mean, like when's the last time State had a guy with 8 sacks? Was it Chubb?
Chubb, yeah.
Yeah.
How many did Durden have that one year?
I don't know. It feels like they've had a bunch of guys at like 5 or 6.
Yeah, maybe.
Payton Wilson, I think, had a big year. Drake Thomas had a big year, but I don't think they've had anybody get up to 8. And so to rush the quarterback at that level, and then obviously Aguirre on Miami's defense as good as it was, and King Mack at Penn State, whose defense was as good as it was. I love it. 3 impact guys who I think you expect to play key roles. Again, you kind of come in and you wonder, okay, is player X going to take a step forward? Is player Y going to be ready to go? I don't think you necessarily have that question with these 3 guys who have produced at this level. So, 137 tackles, 13.5 TFLs, 8.5 sacks. From those 3 guys combined, I think that's 3 guys who are going to impact and make plenty of havoc plays, as I like to call them, around the football for NC State this year.
Fact check, it was Payton Wilson who last had at least 8 sacks.
It was Payton. Okay. How many did he have?
Yeah, 8.5.
8.5. Yeah. So, and before that, I'm guessing it was probably Chubb. I don't know
I'm
if you
not
have
sure.
that.
I can go back and look at
For
that
8,
one.
yeah, I got Bradley Chubb with 8 in 2016.
Okay.
Well,
2 pretty good football players for NC State.
yeah. Which we'll probably talk about them here later here in the live show here. But before we actually dive into that a little bit more, I do want to give a shout out real quick to our amazing Patreon. Only $5 a month. You get 3 members only videos per week, plus access to our members only rumor chat. So if we're hearing any rumors, recruiting, or whatever it may be, anything that we feel like is of interest at all to Wolfpack Nation, we'll make sure to show it in the rumors chat. So make sure to go sign up today by clicking the link down in the description below. Only $5 per month, 3 videos per week, and members only rumor chat. So Macon, which of those 3 that Ethan mentioned do you think will make the biggest impact here for this upcoming season, which we can't tease too much because we have our defense preview coming up here this week, but we'll give them a little bit of a taste here.
I really like Harvey Dyson. I mean, I think State's going to need some edge presence there to get the pass rush. I really like what he did at Tulane. You mentioned the 8 sacks there. That's just a really impact guy. A lot of people in the country, a lot of teams in the country really would have loved to have had. And State made him a priority in the transfer portal. So for me, I like Harvey Dyson to be making a really big impact there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Greg, would you agree with Macon's pick, or would you go a different route?
No, I think it for me, I'm a big guy. I believe about lines, offensive and defense. And so if you can get a good pass rush up front, it makes everyone else's life a lot easier. Yeah. And so, there's a reason why they're coveted so much in the NFL. And I believe, just as in what Macon was putting out.
I'll go a little bit of a different route, and I mean, I know.
Sorry.
Well, just to keep it spicy here. Listen, I think King Mack is going to serve a big purpose for the team this year. Just his experience coming in as a senior, a guy that was, when he came out of high school, was number 86 overall recruit in the country, number 6 overall safety in the country. I mean, was under the Penn State system for 4 years. So, again, obviously we know with James Franklin that, he isn't the most elite of coaches, but he's still a very good football coach. So to be in his system, 4 years, he's definitely going to learn a few things there that are going to be great in terms of keeping a locker room strong, in terms of a player that you can rely on, that you can, shoulder with some weight going into this upcoming season here. So I think King Mack, it's been a while since probably Tanner Ingalls that we've had a safety we felt really stands above the rest, and I think King Mack could be that guy for this upcoming season. So, but yeah, no, all good, all three good ones there, Ethan. So appreciate that. And again, thank you as well to our amazing sponsor, Alpha CPR Trainings. Make sure to go and check them out here today. Actually, before we get into that here, I did want to quickly shout out here, Greg, and actually, because I won't even bring this up necessarily in a tweet here, but I know that we've had a couple of different big commits here recently, Greg, from a baseball perspective. And obviously we don't have enough time to spend and break down necessarily each one individually here. But is there one in particular that you really want to highlight here for Wolfpack Nation that really excites you?
You talking about the prep guys? Is that what you're referring to?
Correct. Yep.
I don't know. Like, for me, it's really hard because like they don't really jump out from a numbers perspective or a ranking perspective. I am always intrigued by left-handed pitchers. I feel like those guys just don't grow on trees, and so I get excited about left-handed pitchers. So maybe that's where I'll take this with. I'm guessing his name is Handelog. Evan Handelog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right, Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his last name. So like his numbers don't really jump off the chart. The one number, if we're kind of still have Ethan's stat pack as our background, the number with Evan that jumps off to me is his weight. Like homeboy needs to eat a sandwich, so we can get that velo up. So if we can get him on the program like in his senior year in high school, that would be great. Just putting that out there into the universe. But no, I do love left-handed pitching. You know, you can never have too many left-handed pitchers, and I'll leave it at that.
How much does he weigh, Greg?
If his bio is correct or his whatever we saw, it was $150. So
yeah,
I'm really hoping that was a misprint. Maybe like the 5 was like a 6 or a 7 or an 8, but I don't know. Again, he's a kid that I'm sure will bulk up, and you know, I think that, you know, who knows. Anyway, Ethan, did one of them jump out at you?
No, not really. I mean, we talked
Yeah.
about we talked about him, Holt Gaston as well. You just kind of never know with the high school guys, you know. I'd go back to Jacob Duden, who wasn't even really a guy who jumped out the fall of his freshman year, and then by the spring you're like, oh, okay, this guy throws 98.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's all about the development with baseball players. And so yeah, I mean, if you want me to pick somebody else, I'll go Holt Gaston, but yeah, I like Greg's pick as well.
Yeah. So real quick here, I want to spend 30 seconds here and jump on over to grind my gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Alrighty here. So I just have a little something to say here, as there's been a couple of tweets that have come out here talking about our picks for the countdown tweets of the day, saying,
Hold on. Can I pause you?
Go ahead.
Your picks, not our picks. Your picks. So this is all on you there. But please,
are any of them bad picks though, Greg? I mean, they've all been good picks so far, right?
I don't think okay. All right, well, I'll let you finish your grind my gears, and I'll grind my gears off of your grind my gears.
Okay, that's fair.
Grind
That's
my
fair.
gears and your gears.
But there's been a couple of tweets, pointing out, well, didn't we lose that game? Like, why'd you pick that one? We lost that game. When it's like, well, okay, and that's honestly why, Greg, I picked today's clip, because I said, what is the most amazing play that I can think of in a game where we lost? And that Jacoby Brissett. What's that?
You're just poking the bear. That's all you're doing.
Well, I mean,
what does it say? You're click farming or whatever the heck the term is. I don't know.
For you,
click. Yeah. Well, engagement farming is. I think I'm getting like
engagement farming.
You're saying it right.
You're saying it right, Greg. Okay,
yeah, I know he's doing his job. I know he's bringing eyes to our channel.
That's right. So what's the issue with that, Greg? Give it to me. What you got?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the theme. It's like you definitely write it, and I give you props. I will give you props. You write it to where you get them coming out of the woods. You're like, what has Tuffy Talk said now that I can just get on them and bash them for something stupid. So yeah, you're doing a good job in that regard.
I mean, you ain't talking about the Jacoby Brissett tweet, right?
I mean, look, you're not wrong on some of the things you're saying. It's just Wolfpack Nation has a way of expressing themselves, and it's not
Sure.
always in a positive manner.
No, absolutely. Hey, listen,
We love to
I'm-
find the
I-
negative in everything.
No, hey, listen, you don't get into the content creation business without knowing that at some point you're going to hear a few negatives. It's going to happen. So
I will say we're not the worst because there are some accounts out there that are way worse.
no, absolutely.
In
Nope,
their engagement.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, Wolfpack Nation, let's jump on over to tweets of the week. So, first tweet of the week here, coming off the backs of a solid commit. I mean, Macon, how would you qualify this commitment here from AK Crumble 2027 defensive back 3-star out of Clayton?
If I had to say it was like a scale 1 to 10, 10 being like a home run pick, I would say it's probably like a nice, like a solid like 7 right here because AK Crumel, or I believe it's pronounced. I had it here a second ago. I want to block it. It's,
Acredrin?
a Kedron,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Crumel.
something like that.
This guy had a lot of really good offers coming out of high school, and Clayton is not always the biggest NC State lean, although Devin Carter came out of there, and I think Savion Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, also came out of Clayton. So those are two big NC State names, although I know Devin Carter did transfer out to West Virginia in his tenure.
We got Aiden Smalls from there as well.
Aiden Smalls. So it's becoming maybe more of a thing there, but it's nice. I like it. It's a close to home guy. Looks like he probably grew up based on that picture, grew up an NC State fan. So if you can get a guy in the North Carolina, Piedmont area, in that Raleigh area, who grew up a fan, who's got some nice offers, nothing too crazy, but he's got Georgia Tech, Arkansas. I see some Boston College, Florida State, Kentucky. He's got some SEC offers on here. I even see somewhere like Ohio State offered him at one point. So did USC. So good places, good teams. I think it's a good pick. State's kind of been, last season they lost so many guys in the transfer portal. You're starting 4 or 5 defensive backs all left. I'm not saying this guy's going to be a starter or anything like that, but you just never know with these day and age. It's going to be so tumultuous, and I think with the defensive backs right now, it is. I think, is this Charlton Warren who is the recruiter for the DBs? I think it is. So this
Should
guy
be, yeah.
that's paying dividends. He's shown he's gotten some nice recruits in the last 2 to 3 years. So yeah, I like this commit. I think this is a guy who will hopefully pan out for us. But kind of like your point about pitchers, and baseball commits in the prep rankings, like you just don't know with these high school kids. Are they going to stay? Get a flash a few plays here and there and want to leave? The cream will always rise to the top. Hopefully, this is what we see out of Cromel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, I think it's a really solid pickup for State. I just you got to hope it projects out well.
Real quick, and I'll jump back into this, but I just saw the funniest tweet where it was a ESPN Insights graphic where it had like the percent chances to make the college football playoff, the top 20% chances. And and keep in mind, UNC is not on this list, but a UNC account quote tweeted and said UNC is too high, and again, UNC is not even on the graphic, which is that's just peak right there. That's good stuff. Ethan, though, I remember times back, just a few years ago, Ethan, where you'd have recruits putting out a tweet being like, "Hey, can somebody help me put together a graphic?" And you'd have all these graphic design people reaching out to help put together an amazing graphic. And now you got graphics that are being put together by AI to announce commitments, man. It's a lost art, man, that you're not seeing really as much, if at all, anymore.
It is a lost art. I think that used to be like, if not a job, like at least an internship with the football program. Maybe it still is. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, you're right. Like you used to have a graphic for your top 8, your top 45, your whatever it may be,
Top
and
17.
right,
I need
right.
to do one next time I'm up for a new job.
And then a commitment date, and then I'm cutting my list on this day, and then I have decommitted. So
It's exhausting.
yeah,
Please
like I said,
respect
that
my
used to be
decision.
right. We used to hear about commitments, and it would be like, all right, well, player X has committed, and it was like, okay, well, when are they announcing? And then it was like, well, I don't know. They got to wait on the graphic, and it was just kind of one of those things, and you don't necessarily hear that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, Greg, for me, this is just another example of a guy that, listen, if we can win in our state recruiting wise, let's do it. If we can get a guy that's local, that's a layup option for us to, you know, invest in, develop and get him to NC State here. I think AK definitely fits that mold here. Again, not necessarily a guy that has all the stars, not a 4 or 5-star guy, but again, a solid like making 3-star prospect with a lot of really good offers on that offer sheet.
Absolutely. And when ACC Media Days was happening and Coach Dorn was at the podium and he said, NC State does more with 3-star recruits than anybody else in the country. This is where they shine. And if nothing else, this helps the recruiting budget because you probably only had to spend like $10 in gas money back and forth from Raleigh to Clayton. So yeah, it helps. And again, it goes back to day one when Coach Dorn says he wants to build a wall around the state of North Carolina. This is how you do it. And yeah, so it's great when local kids want to come and stay home and rep their local school.
Yeah. So our next tweet of the week here, want to give a shout out to AC Network and it says
We had this one
first of all-
last week.
Yeah, for those that are listening, it's a screenshot of from AC Media Day, and the headline at the bottom says Florida State seeks not to suck. Now, I mean, is this AI, right?
I feel like it has to be.
has to
I
be.
wasn't able to verify it in either direction. I thought it was hilarious regardless. Yeah, regardless, it's funny. But this would be an all-time banger if this really did populate on the screen during this segment.
Mhm.
But yeah, like the real person, the real brain in me says this has to be fake. Like it just absolutely has to be.
I mean, the fact
That or the graphics guy was from Miami.
Well, but again, also the fact that it literally says Florida State seeks not to suck. It's not Florida State seeks not to suck. It's Florida State seeks not to suck. But
Well, again, it could have been a Miami guy. So
yeah, that's true. That's
no,
fair.
but I believe this was AI. But regardless, it was funny.
Funny as crap. Love it. Next tweet of the week here, got to give a shout out as it has been officially announced. Meet the Pack Day and Victory Day are going to be happening on August 16th. Now, the interesting thing, and for those that are unaware of what Victory Day is, what's the name of the organization? I know, Greg,
Gigi's Playhouse.
Gigi's Playhouse. Yeah. Basically, in state football, basically invites Gigi's Playhouse to come out to the stadium. They do a lot of cool things. They'll usually like one at a time allow them, entrance out of the tunnel onto the field, which is really cool, and then do like a couple of drills and allow each of the Gigi's Playhouse members to score a touchdown, and it's really cool. They have the they have the stadium announcer there, and for at least the first few he'll touchdown Wolfpack, which is so cool. So but the interesting
band's
thing
there too, plays the fight
band
song
is there?
after it. Yeah.
Mr. and Miss Wolf, the cheerleaders, all that.
Yep.
They don't leave anything on any rock unturned here. Now, but the interesting question which I have there, Greg, is the fact that they're on the same day as Meet the Pack Day. That's unique.
It's been like that a couple times for the last couple of
really?
years. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I remember definitely last year. This is probably the second or third year in a row they've done this. They have done it where they were separate events. But yeah, they've been kind of combining it the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Ethan, do you feel like that there's going to be a high likelihood that a lot of NC State fans will be able to show up to Meet the Pack Day and know exactly the names of the players that they're going to want to go and get besides CJ? I mean, let's be real. CJ Bailey, whatever line he's in, just put the kickers near him. You know what I mean? Like just put the safeties near him. You know, just help give them some love. You know, because I can guarantee you that probably half the players are going to be just sitting there tapping pins while the rest of the Wolfpack Nation is going to be waiting the CJ Bailey line. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of the ones that I went to many years ago. It was like that for Devin Leary. And I think I was working that event or something. And I mean, it was like you say it out loud, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, the line's going to be way longer. But seeing it in person, you know, it doesn't really, you can't really explain it. That doesn't do it justice. And so, yeah, Bailey will certainly have a lot of autographs to sign, a lot of babies to kiss and hands to shake, right? But it'll be a good day for State. It'll be a good day. Victory Day is definitely one of the best things that they do.
Absolutely.
And it's awesome. It's awesome. And it does feel to me, it feels closer to the season starting this year than it has in the past. Because August 16th and they play on what? The 29th?
29th.
29th, yep.
Yeah. So that's a quicker turnaround than I remember. But either way, it's a great event as always.
Couple of pro tips real quick. They do separate the offensive side and defensive side on one each side of the stadium. Last year, the home team, the offense was on the home side, and the quarterbacks were right closest to the Murphy Center. That line is definitely the longest, as everyone was alluding to. So there is a strategy. I save quarterbacks for last because by then the line dies. So I start on the defense and then go back to the offense. So pro tip.
Okay. I like it.
From a pro.
I mean, I have 5 team helmets. Well, actually, this will be my 5th team helmet. So
there you go.
that's kind of my thing for the cave.
So since we have Mr. Macon here with us here, got to do a little bit of basketball, right? So John Rothstein putting a tweet out talking about head coach Ryan Odom over Virginia, saying that he has no plans to return a game at VCU in 2026, 2027, but is willing to play the Rams in the future, saying also too that VCU has previously put in its head coach's contracts that they were required to return for a game or provide a buyout when they took another job here. So, Macon, thoughts here?
It's the first time seeing this. Seems a little bit different than what we did, you know, not going to kind of getting out of the one of VCU game for us. I'd be curious to know what both Odom and Gainey are thinking there, other than to say, I mean, I imagine it would be a quad 1 or a 2 game. I would have kind of seen that have been a fun one to play, but you know, I wonder if it's got to be something to do with the scheduling from a straight the schedule standpoint, or I don't know. I'm kind of curious of what their reasoning is for not going to that game there, but maybe they feel like they've got everything to lose in that situation. Not much to gain, but it is a quad 1-2 game probably, because I think it's Martelli is the coach of VCU. They got a pretty good program there now, so I don't see what you lose by playing at VCU, other than you would maybe be losing to a mid-major program if you lost. But I think VCU is a fun team to play. It's close by. You can kind of see another city. So I kind of wish teams would follow through on that. But there's got to be some strategy there that I'm just not aware of at this point. Maybe it's probably not an expensive game either. So maybe it's exposure for recruiting. I have no idea. So.
Greg, yeah, I know you had originally sent this tweet to me. You have any additional insight in terms of the reasoning why Odom declined this offer?
Not 100% sure. I did do some research as far as the second paragraph goes, saying they previously put head coaches' contracts that they were required to return for a game. LSU did play in Richmond against VCU in 2020. So I thought maybe Wade was doing that from when he was at State, because that's how we ended up on the schedule. But no, it wasn't. It was seems like it was in opposite of that. But no, I think that it's just a game that maybe they already had their schedule locked in, and because from what I understand, that they had to do it within their first 3 years of accepting a new job. So I don't think they're at the point where they have to quote unquote buy it out.
Do you, and Ethan, question for you, do you feel like at all that if Virginia maybe had the same setup as the state of North Carolina does with playing North Carolina opponents, this might change things?
Maybe. Like if Virginia and Virginia Tech were required to play.
Yeah.
I don't like they already play twice though in the ACC, I'm guessing, aren't they the rivalry matchup, so they play twice?
I would imagine they would be the rival.
Yeah.
Well,
so
rivalries don't mean nothing in terms of playing each other twice a year, as we've learned.
Well,
but
no,
anyway.
he's talking about the
but
ACC
like
locks
the
them in.
matchup. Yeah, the ACC.
Okay, gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. Sorry, go ahead, Ethan.
I wonder if like the way Rothstein words this tweet, it kind of sounds like the contract's changed. So I wonder if something from the VCU end here changed where they don't put this into head coaching contracts. Like maybe that cost them a coach that they wanted or something in the past. I don't know. But just throwing that out there from Rothstein kind of makes me think that, hey, things might have changed on that end, and that's why they're not doing it. But hey, we were very critical of State not playing this game, and I would be critical of Virginia here in the same situation.
And that was my reasoning for posting this exactly, Ethan. Just
Right.
be like, hey, like another. I tweeted this out. It was like, hey, look, another
On the same
ACC
boat.
team not willing to play VCU, so everyone that was given
Mhm.
at State
Pump the
needs to go
brakes.
back and give it to UVA as well. That was
Yeah.
my
for sure.
my reasoning exactly.
Yeah. Now for Virginia, I wasn't on the schedule, so I guess maybe that's the difference. But either way, it sounds like a game that should have been played. May as well have been on the schedule if it was a contract. So maybe they played a buyout. Who knows? But yeah, absolutely, I would be critical. And Virginia was the second best team
close
in the
game,
ACC. Yeah, they were the second best team in the ACC. They were a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. They absolutely should have played a tougher non-conference schedule last year. Their non-conference schedule was very, very soft to the point where when they came to Raleigh, second game of ACC play, State was favored in that game. Obviously, Virginia ended up being much better than NC State, but we didn't know that because State had gone out and challenged themselves and picked up a couple of good wins, and Virginia hadn't done that. So, and I think that kind of went into the line being what it was. And so, again, do I really care what Virginia's doing? Not really, but I don't, seems like they're scheduling themselves awfully light relative to the type of program, at least that they had in year one with Odom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation here, we want to jump on over to really what is anchored this whole show here, which is talking a little bit here, I guess not talking, debate a little bit here of the question of how many GOATs, positional GOATs, does NC State football have here. So what we'll do is we'll go position by position. We won't debate who is the GOAT or who is the best, but we're going to debate, is there an undisputed GOAT? Now, to define a little bit, we're not necessarily going to say that 100% of NC State fans would say this is the best player at that position, but 90%. Like I'm sure maybe Corin Robinson's family and he has a few fans that are saying, nah, Corin Robinson's the GOAT here. But let's start there though at the wide receiver position. Is anybody going to debate Torry Holt not being the undisputed GOAT at wide receiver?
They shouldn't.
No.
I mean, I don't think that's I think you could dispute that. Isn't that the question?
Well,
Like, I
is
pick him.
Would 90% of NC State fans say somebody else besides Torry Holt is the best wide receiver in NC State?
I think if you were to poll NC State fans, I think the number would be less than 90% of fans would pick Torry Holt.
Okay, maybe I should lower
who
the.
Who are you going
The
second?
other two, I would say, are Jericho Cotry and Corin.
Cotry, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but
Corin Robinson, the problem with Robinson, he was only a 2-year guy.
People forget about
Yeah.
guys like Haywood Jeffries and Mike Quick.
Yeah.
But again, because I think Torry Holt gives you the whole package. All a consensus All-American, ACC Player of the Year in 1998, number 81 retired by NC State and retired by an NFL franchise. So he gives you the NFL part, which isn't
Yeah, true.
a big piece, but it's a piece, sure. And
Super
the
Bowl
fact that
champ.
he gives you a stud of a college career as well. So that's why, in my opinion, he fits an undisputed kind of template here,
Yeah.
especially when you compare him to these other positions, which we're going to talk about. If this is not undisputed, if this is not going to somehow define itself as undisputed, then we may struggle to find one for the rest of the show.
Maybe. Let's go through it. This will be fun.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's, because Greg, we won't necessarily go to the Jericho Cotchery, yin and yang here. We'll actually go straight to your heart, Greg, at running back here.
Not even a debate.
Well, so Macon, I'll ask you first. Is Ted Brown not the GOAT of running backs in NC State? And if you say anybody else besides Ted Brown, Greg is going to personally come.
I don't even know why you're even taking a breath on this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who. I'm just making sure I could think of who else it could be.
It's not possible.
I mean, it's really.
Look, just say Press Maravich.
I was going to say as a joke. Honestly, I was about to say Press Maravich as a joke. I'll tell you about that one later. It was pretty funny. But yeah,
classic
callback. There really isn't any competition there that I can think of. You've had some really good ones, but they're like years and years ago. The most
College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Is any other running back in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Nope.
If they counted Ted Brown's postseason yards like they count everybody else's, he would still be probably number one in the ACC all time. And the last time he ran was 1979.
He's got school record of 4,602 rushing yards, 860 carries.
He's got almost 1,000 yards more than the next guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Travis Etienne played like 30 extra games and barely has more, only because they don't count Ted Brown's numbers. And I don't believe Ted Brown was able to play his freshman year because of college rules. Somebody fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm kind of looking here.
Sports Reference has him with 4 years played.
Joe McIntosh is probably the next best, or Tremaine Stevens, because he was Tremaine was awesome. All-ACC All-Star, over 3,500 career yards. It's career yards too. Joe McIntosh is second in school history with 3,642 yards, AC Rookie of the Year, but none of them they're kind of all sniffing Ted Brown's dust right there. So that's just got to be Ted Brown.
Yeah. And then number 4 is Hollywood Smothers. What? No. So yeah. All right. So, okay. So I guess Ted Brown is the bar for undisputed at a in-state football position. All right. So let's jump on over to quarterback here. Anybody can argue Phillip Rivers?
No, I could make an argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's disputable.
It is disputable, but here's the problem. And this is the problem when you get into the GOAT conversation. Different eras play the game differently. You can look at a guy like Roman Gabriel.
I'm going to say, you're going to say Roman Gabriel.
Yeah, but again, where it's going to hurt him is the stat lines, because again, that was an era where you ran the ball 50 times a game and threw 10, 15 times a game. Again, a little hyperbole there, but you get the point. But he was that kind of first, second generation of pass throwers that kind of defined what it meant to go vertical. But I think it's still going to be probably Phillip Rivers, but to Ethan's point, the problem here is you have Russell Wilson, you have Phillip Rivers, you have Roman Gabriel. The vote would get split here a lot, but I think because of the times we are in, people have short-term memory. I think people would say Phillip Rivers.
I mean, I'm sure probably at least 40-50% of people would pick probably Phillip Rivers. Am I crazy in saying that?
No, I think he would get the majority, and then you get the split with Russell.
He would get the respect, I think, from everybody's fans, even if they weren't there. Like for me, like Russell Wilson was a guy that made me love football, watching football. I mean, I came in, I still remember watching the game where he had the 2-yard Hail Mary against UNC. I mean, I still remember where I was watching that, and that was like honestly one of my earliest memories for me watching a state football game. I love Russell Wilson.
I think the conversation looks differently if he plays his grad year and doesn't go to Wisconsin. I think the conversation is vastly different.
Right. But you objectively looking up, black and white, the numbers just go to Phillip Rivers. So he was the only person who's ever had like a +10 win season in the state. So you have that kind of going with them too. They beat Notre Dame, and when Notre Dame was still kind of riding high a little bit, maybe not as high as they had been, but yeah.
But I mean,
to me, the other guy who
go ahead.
Well, statistically, like he's not on those guys' level.
Mike Glennon.
But Ryan Finley had played a fourth
Oh, my
year.
God.
Like he would be up there.
Actually,
in
he
pretty
played his
much
whole
every
career,
category.
right? Because he
For
played a year at
stat
Boise
point,
State
Ryan
too.
Finley is
That's what I'm
second
saying. Like
school
he only
history
played
and
3 at NC State.
Yeah, Ryan Finley is
So-
second in school history and career completions and fourth in passing touchdowns. He's thrown over
Right.
10,000 yards in a 3-year
But
stretch.
like nobody's taking him
Sneaky.
over any of those guys. No, right? Nobody would pick him in this. But if you extrapolate those numbers out over another season, yeah.
Hey, fun fact.
Yeah.
Ryan Finley, I
Yeah.
think, went on to be a kind of like a pro pickleball player.
Yeah,
Right.
pro
Wait,
pickleball.
That's correct.
What?
Yes,
Yeah.
go look it up.
That's amazing. I just watched the pickleball movie last night on Apple TV. Dink. Anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So that's good. That's good debate there. But so we will say,
Thanks, Philip.
believe it or not, disputed for that one. Tight end.
Carrie Angeline.
I mean, Carrie Angeline, George Bryan, honestly, is the name that comes to mind for me.
No, he's pretty
honestly,
awesome.
yeah.
yeah.
He just never
It's
had a
just-
real dominant guy.
No. Yeah.
Is
Yeah. I
Joe
mean,
Lee
because
in
I'm
that
like,
Count
conversation
Jalen
at
Samuels.
well,
Jalen Samuels might be in there. Is Joe Lee in that at all at this point?
He only played 2 years.
I know, but like you mentioned
Which is a
projection
lot
earlier
now.
for Finley.
It is a lot.
yeah. I mean,
If you're counting Jalen Samuels, like Jalen Samuels is 12th on the all-time in scrimmage yards.
Yeah,
at
he was
NC
nasty.
It was-
State.
I just looked this up. I didn't
Like-
even look at the list here until we all talked about it, but all 4 of the guys we just talked about are literally the top 4 that AI pops up. Like it says Jalen Samuels, George Bryan, Justin Jolie, Carrie Angeline.
well, because here's my thing though, Ethan, is that yes, technically Jalen Samuels spent, I think it was 2 years with the tight ends. Now
But wasn't he
That's
listed?
smallest
as a
time
tight-
in-
I thought he was listed.
I thought he was listed as
Yeah.
a running back.
he was honestly an RB/tight end. Like
Yeah.
that's because he would be the motion
was a Swiss
guy
Army
a
knife,
lot
yeah.
of times.
Yeah.
So that's why they would list him at tight end, because he'd be listed because he would spend a lot of time in the tight end slot. But again, you just look at him, he's not a tight end. He's truly a running back, wide receiver, Swiss Army knife. Truly.
Yeah, I mean, how many times did he run the jet sweep from the tight end position?
Right. A crap
There's also
ton.
something funny here. If we want to do loopholes here, we could say Garrett Bradbury is the greatest NC State tight end of all time because he came to NC State as a tight end and then went
True.
to offensive line
As
where he
0
won
stars?
the Remington Trophy.
Yeah. Well, so
He
but
did score
I
a
think
touchdown, okay?
He did ECU and got a
But-
15-yard penalty for it.
Who cares?
hey, worth every inch there.
Yeah.
I do want to jump to the offensive line, but I just want to confirm though, tight end. If we're going to count Jalen Samuels, but if you're going to say not so much, then totally disputed there, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So offensive line
Jim
for
Richter.
me. Yeah. I don't know, man. Again, and again, it might be a little bit of recency bias here, man.
I
All
feel like the meme where Ben Affleck is like smoking. It's like,
I mean, does Joe Tooney not
We're
deserve a
stressing you out
mention?
that much, Greg?
Jim Richard,
many awards did Joe Tooney
Richard
win?
is the answer. But
Yep, yeah.
Bradbury is honestly one. Bill Yost is also in that conversation.
correct. Dick
But
Christie.
Bradbury won best center in the
Yeah.
nation.
Yeah, he won the
Yeah.
I've got
Remington.
another guy you haven't even mentioned yet.
Tooney,
And to me, this is the problem with offensive line. Is like, what numbers are you really going
Right,
based off of?
Right. It's really hard.
It's all about like we could
It's
get
awards and
Phil Stanford
accolades.
get
It's
in
really
here and-
yeah.
right. Ike Ekwonu was a 3-year starter. Started as a true freshman, which I shouldn't say never, but rarely happens.
It's rare.
Played the most
Ike is
important
pretty good
position on the
answer.
line. And went, did he go 5th in the draft? 6th?
Yeah, 5th or 6th.
he was
Yeah,
six.
I think
he was
6th.
the number 1 offensive player taken that year.
Yeah, and first ACC player, I believe.
He was number 1. Oh, first ACC. I got you. Okay.
I believe.
I
That's a good
I
call.
don't know.
That's a
Like,
good
I
call.
like the Icky Aquanu
The
voice.
problem is again the measuring stick on offensive people, right? And you tend to go with guys that have awards. And again, Richter won the Outland in '79, was a consensus All-American, in the College Football Hall of Fame. Like he has the accolades that matter when you're quote unquote looking for a GOAT at any position, especially one where there aren't true statistics.
Well, and for me, it's again, it just Joe Tooney for me is because Joe Tooney is one of the few offensive linemen we're talking about that he played every single position on the offensive line. He played center, he played
Yeah.
guard, he played tackle. He also too has probably one, if not the most impressive NFL resumes in NC State football
is not
history
NFL.
so far. I know, but again, hey, listen.
It went back to our argument a few weeks ago when we had this very
no,
But you know the funny thing about Joe Tooney for me, what I remember him the most from NC State,
Is his hair.
the Shake It Off video.
the Shake It Off video. That's exactly where I was going. That was exactly where I'm going. If anyone out there listening doesn't know what we're talking about, do NC State weight room Shake It Off. It is one of the funniest dang videos. You got Catavius Street in there, BJ Hill. They're all just
Bradley
dancing to Taylor
Chubb.
Swift. I believe Bradley Chubb was in there as well. It is a very, very funny, especially when you look at what they've all accomplished to this day. It is super funny.
I'm trying to look up who you can still kind of look up historical like recruiting profiles of some of these guys. Like what I can tell, Joe Tooney only had an offer from NC State that's so far that I can see. I know like guys like Russell Wilson.
Garrett Bradbury, I think, only was offered by Charlotte and us.
Yeah. Now, I will say when you talking GOATs, like we did break it down and kept it very general as far as offensive line, but you could break those guys down into certain positions.
Correct.
And I think you would be fine with pretty much all the guys we just mentioned.
Yeah, no, like NC State football could create one dominant offensive line for sure over its history for sure. But so it sounds like to me that it's with offensive line. I kind of put it maybe in the wide receiver category where a majority 70-80% are going to say Jim Richer, but then there might be arguments for an Icky, for a Bill Yost, etc. Am I categorizing them correctly?
Yeah. Wasn't Dick Christie an offensive lineman? Can anyone? I thought he was, but I could be wrong on that.
Dick Christie?
Let me look real quick.
Man, I should know that, honestly. I feel like we should. It's Tuffy talk here, but
somebody's screaming at their computer screen right now, being like, "Why do these guys not know this?"
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. He's got his numbers retired too. So,
well, while we look it up here, I want to go ahead. I do want to go ahead and start the conversation though now and switch to the defense side here, and I actually want to go to defensive line here. I think it's what is it?
He's a halfback, so then he could have been in a conversation with running back.
Okay,
but still not better than Ted Brown.
Yeah.
Continue.
So defensive line, I feel like defensive line is a two-headed monster with Mario Williams and Bradley Chubb. Now Manny Lawson, I feel like is another name that's up there, but do we feel like that it would be probably a majority split between Mario Williams and Bradley Chubb? Anybody else disagree with that?
Are you doing defensive line as a whole or by position, right? So
I feel like you got to go as a whole.
Are you counting Chubb as a D line or as a linebacker?
D line.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably count him D line. He started out linebacker and just kind of started to move his way up. He plays more linebacker in pros, but
listen, I don't even remember who was Dave Huxtable still the defense coordinator. I'm pretty sure he would probably get fired on the spot if Bradley Chubb dropped back into coverage. Much if not maybe more than once a game. Which I mean, he had great hands for sure, but dude, that dude was so dominant pass rushing. Like you had to make sure we went at it all times possible here. But so just to keep it simple, instead of saying, well, are we talking nose tackle? Are we talking defensive tackle? Are we talking just defensive line?
Yeah, if you're doing defensive line, for me, it's Mario Williams, and it's not close.
It's Mario Williams, and it's not close.
Chubb?
Yeah.
So you would you wouldn't even debate it? Why is that?
Just for a couple of like Mario Williams has the all-time sack record for a single season. Was the first ACC player ever drafted at number 1 overall in the NFL draft. Probably, I know he was All-American at least once, but maybe twice. I don't think he won any actually awards though, and I think Bradley did. Right?
Correct. Bradley won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Ooh, strike, Greg. You sure?
Yeah, I'm still going Mario.
Okay.
It's close though. It's close.
It's got to be disputable, right?
It is disputed.
No,
Did
it's
I say
definitely
undisputed? Did I say that?
Well, just
Or
it
did
was-
I say not
You just said
close?
it wasn't close. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay, it was-
got
I
a
thought you
little
said
ahead of
Bradley
myself.
Chubb was a better player than Ted Brown. I thought that's what I heard you say.
Apples and oranges, son. Apples and
Not
oranges.
true. Not true.
Mhm. But
It's my
Ethan-
opinion, and it, all that matters.
That's right. But
And
E-
okay,
Ethan,
for
would you
everybody else to be wrong.
would you kind of give Chubb though a little bit of a nod over Mario?
This is kind of where you get into like the generations thing. Like to me, this is
Correct.
like we were talking about Jim Richter with offensive line. Like he might be the right answer, but he wouldn't get the most amount of votes right now just because the younger people voting aren't going to have any idea. So like for me, I was at school at the same time as Bradley Chubb, so it's like, okay, like, you kind of had a front row seat to it. So
Yeah.
to me, this is truly 50-50. And I know there's been other great defensive linemen as well. I don't want to take away from those guys. I'm sure some will get picked, but
Here's where
This
I'll
is-
go with. Yeah, let me just throw this out to you and give it your opinion. Supporting cast for Bradley versus Mario. Right.
Supporting
And I think
cast in
yeah, the
terms
D-
of like,
the rest of the D line when they played. Like
well,
Bradley
they were both
Chubb.
stacked.
Yeah, but I think Bradley Chubb's defensive line was better than Mario Williams's defensive line.
Yeah. I would say
Again, it's close.
I would say Mario had one guy that was better than the other three, but I would say yes, in terms of the other three combined, Bradley Chubb I think had better than what Mario had. Yes.
I mean, everyone.
is that reason to vote for one over the other?
Well, I just think because of like you can't double team certain guys, right? Because if you've got a really stout D line, you got to play everybody straight up. And so, I feel like Mario, and again, I don't have any like definitive video proof of this, but it just feels like Mario got double teamed more than Bradley Chubb did.
That's fair. All right, so I want to cut us off there just because, again, the point of this is we still have a couple other positions here to get to,
Yeah.
but so I think we'll leave it at it's definitely disputed, but it sounds like for sure it's a two-headed monster at the top with Mario and Chubb. But linebacker. So again, for me, it's Payton Wilson. For me, Payton, he was the everything you need in a linebacker guy. Like he was everything that you could want in a linebacker. A guy with speed, a guy who could cover the pass, a guy who could rush the passer. Again, having 8.5 sacks in 2023, a guy that could lead the locker room, and a guy that can make plays that you're not asking him that you normally wouldn't ask for him to make either. So my vote is that not necessarily that's undisputed for sure. I think definitely linebacker position is going to be disputed, but for me, I'm kind of taking the Greg route where I think it's Payton Wilson has a solid edge above everybody else.
Yeah,
Payton
for
Wilson
me,
was straight up dominant.
Mm-hmm.
he was. I do think like the recency bias with Peyton kind of catches in where he just straight up carried that 2023 team. I mean, you could argue that Drake Thomas was better than him when they were both on the roster at NC State, and so that's why to me, like, it's hard to, I don't know, like it does feel like it's got to be one of these two guys for me. Again, a real recency bias there, but and obviously there's been others further back, but I don't know. Like I feel like we remember Peyton as what he was in his 2023 season. That was, I mean, one like on the short list of the best individual football seasons that a player at NC State has had. But like he got hurt and missed a couple of seasons. Like some of the other linebackers were more productive than him when they were all here together. So again, you won't find a bigger Payton Wilson fan than me, but I think this has to be disputed. I know you said that, Layton, but I mean,
Yeah.
like we forgot how reliable this was and well-rounded.
Macon, would you agree? I know you said Payton Wilson was dominant, but would you add anything to Ethan's comments on that?
I'm just kind of looking online as we're talking. 'Cause honestly, I don't remember all the guys. I'm trying to remember all these guys. Yeah, I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking LeVar Fisher stats, man.
He was a
Mhm.
beast.
AC
him and-
Defensive
and-
Player of the Year
him
in
and Thunder.
2000. First team, two-time first team All ACC, first team All American in 2001. He led the country in 2000 with 15.1 tackles per game. He's pretty dominant. And then they throw in D'Antoni and Burnett on this list. So,
Yeah.
pretty awesome. This is some articles that I'm looking from back in like 2019 when Payton Wilson wasn't even around. I probably would, if I had to compare Payton Wilson's stuff to LeVar, although he did win Best Defensive Player of the Year. I might give the slight edge to LeVar, but he wasn't Best Defensive Player in the country. So I don't know. It's close. It would be debatable for sure.
Well, but and to pitch it to you, Greg, because I mean, like we mentioned LeVar Fisher, Stephen Tulloch is another name that comes up. Obviously, too, you can't talk all-time great linebackers
Bill
and not
Cowher.
mention Bill Cowher's name.
Yeah,
You got to
he
mention
was
Bill
mine.
Cowher.
He was mine. Again, we've talked about this before. He twice had 24 tackles in a game. 24 tackles in a game. Like, that's absurd. Holds the single season record for NC State. Again, just didn't get some of those national awards that you're kind of like when you're splitting hairs with the GOATs, right? You always, again, give those accolades. That's probably what's holding him back. Again, we've talked about it before, different eras, you're asking different things of the linebacker. Schemes were different. They probably ran different schemes. So again, you're asking different things from them. State has had a history of really, really good linebackers. Like some of the names, like Nate Irving.
Yes,
Like-
that was good. Exactly. Dude, Nate Irving.
Like we hadn't even talked about
freaking
him.
beast.
Yeah. Audie Cole was another good one that had a couple good seasons.
Terrell Manning.
Terrell Manning was one. And then an old school guy that was part of like the Saints defenses of old, Vaughn Johnson, like way before your guys' time. Yeah. Like this is, I think when you're doing GOATs for linebackers, this is the one position group that you need to break it down by the actual position, what Sam, Mike, or Will. I think you have to break it down in position because State has had so many really good All-Americans, all ACCs. Yeah. But yeah, I think again, if you're going from a national perspective, it's probably going to be Payton, just because him winning the Belinda, what was it?
Bednarik, and
Bednarik.
Butkus.
And then yeah.
So, yeah. Nope. So I think we're in agreement there on that. So I did want to ask y'all's opinion in terms of defensive backs. Would you split it up by safety and cornerback, or would you go defensive back?
Altogether.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
So altogether, Adrian Wilson?
He's up there.
David Amerson had a pretty nice one season.
Correct. That's the problem.
That next
One
year it was
season.
ugly. I still have flashbacks
The
to
next year was
Tennessee
so
game.
bad because the hype was so big.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Now,
one.
now David Amerson did give you one of the greatest graphics of all time, where during the Clemson game, where they showed how we had 13 interceptions, and they showed like a list of other top 25 teams that he single-handedly has more interceptions than. That is one of the sickest graphics of all time. But yes, I mean, I do agree. It's hard to put him as a GOAT in a GOAT conversation when his last year was so bad. So, but yeah, I mean, Adrian Wilson, dominant in college, 5-time Pro Bowl safety, which I know, Greg, that's pros.
It's all
I
good.
get it, but
No,
but
it's
it, but
good.
but when it goes yin and yang like that so beautifully, it's hard, in my opinion, to argue anybody besides Adrian Wilson. Anybody else have another name you want to throw in besides Adrian or
I'm
David
seeing
Amerson?
Terrence Holt could be in that conversation.
Earl Wolf was pretty good.
Earl Wolf's up there in
Wayne
terms of
Washington
conversation.
had 11 lost career interceptions. I think that's probably with his NFL time. Yeah, probably one of those guys right there.
I mean, my thing with Terrence Holt is if you added in what he did on special teams, because I would say in terms of special teams, not returner, Terrence Holt has a few huge plays that he made on special teams. But so what are we doing in terms of percentage? With Adrian Wilson, do we put him as a 50-60% vote guy, or maybe a little bit higher?
I almost wonder if you had to put David Amerson. I don't know. That one season, even though it was one season, was so good. It was like you've got to give that some extra clout to it. That almost like it. I don't know. It kind of outweighs the bad season a little bit because it was so good.
You just wish that it was just flipped.
He was never the same after that either, though. Like even like again, I know we're not talking pro, but since you mentioned it, like he was not a good pro. Like he was in and out of the league pretty quickly.
Correct.
Dwayne Washington was the first round pick.
Dwayne Washington, good call.
Yeah.
Good call. Pittsburgh Steelers, Minnesota Vikings, I think.
Correct. So probably 50-60%.
Dwayne Washington was really good.
But
I think
not undisputed. Right. Yeah, but not undisputed.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. We just haven't had a great, now you're looking at this and we're breaking it down. Like we just haven't had a great history at that position, right? In the D-back. We don't. I feel like Adrian Wilson might be it now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. In terms of just a career, you add in what he did with the pros.
Sure.
Again, it's for me, it's another Torry Holt situation where like it's hard to argue, otherwise. So, but okay. But here's one though that I think could be undisputed. Punter. Anybody want to argue against AJ Cole?
I'd have to go back.
State's had a pretty good run of punters.
Yeah, we had another Lou. We had another
years ago who averaged. He had like 50 yards of punt, something like that. That guy's name.
Just here's my thing is, and it goes back to it's a little bit tough in terms of how like I don't say offensive, like kind of the conversation we had with the offensive line where it's like, okay, what do we really go by? So for me, Greg, this is the one position I feel like you got to take into account a little bit what he's done in the pros, because if you're first team all pro in punting, which again, keep in mind, punting, there's not a huge change between as there is with other positions between college and pro. So if he's able to go to pro and he's able to do so well that he can get first team all pro, that says a lot.
Yeah, it's either probably him or Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans was a consensus All-American. But
Johnny Evans only had 58 punts.
Yeah, that's how good we were. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, what about Trenton Gill? Is he in that conversation at all?
He's top 5, I would say.
He's top 5.
Gill and Noonkester averaged more yards. Gill was at 45.8.
That's what I was thinking of. It was Cole or Gill to me. I just couldn't remember Gill's name.
Yeah, Gill had like almost 46 yards a punt. Where AJ Cole really excelled was when he hit the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, Gill was 2.7 yards per punt better. Like he was first.
Wasn't he right after Cole? Second. Wasn't he right after him though?
Yeah, he was.
It was
that's the craziest part.
He got any better, and you're like, well, this dude's just as good.
Well, the reason AJ Cole is so good is because the Raiders punt like every damn possession, so he's got plenty of practice.
Yep.
No,
Ethan, but you were saying though.
Yeah, statistically, like I wouldn't argue with AJ Cole, but statistically, Gill and Noonkester were both better on a per punt basis, and the volume is pretty close to where Cole was. So
yeah, and punting gets weird because you get penalized for in the end zone, so you really, you have the yards in air, if you will, and then you have your net average after the return. So, to me, the net average is what really matters, because that has everything to do with the whole operation, if you will. So I don't know if you go off net yards or I don't know what is the statistic they actually call it, like gross, I guess, gross yards. I don't know.
I think gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it just
But
depends
again,
on what you value.
But just like you said, I mean, what a stint there, going from Will Bauman to AJ Cole to Trenton Gill.
Will
That's
Bauman, I forgot his name. Jeez. Wow.
yeah. No, I still see him around quite a bit. Will Bauman, you can't miss him. Dude's 6'6", so
We've had some tall punters.
really tall punters. Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Long
Trenton Gill's
legs.
tall.
Yeah, he is.
So, all right. So with that being said, let's
We're
wrap
not
it up
doing
right
this.
here.
We're
We
not
are
doing
doing
this.
it. We're doing
not
it,
doing
Greg.
this.
We're doing it. Okay, fine. We're not doing it. Chris Dunn's the GOAT. We appreciate y'all tuning in here. Thank you. No. All right. Here's my thing. Chris Dunn. First and foremost, the first stat I'm actually going to bring up, y'all, 200 for 200 on extra points in his career. Never missed an extra point his entire career, which is crazy. 97 career field goals. Broke the NC State record in just 3 seasons at NC State, passing Nick Sadie. 2022 Lou Groza Award winner. Only missed 1 field goal that season, 2022. And also too as well, if this matters to you, Greg, which I know you're always up for the show here too as well, but he had this beat that you just hear it and you go, oh, okay. So that means so when this plays,
I can go to the bathroom.
I go to the bathroom, I go
That's really
refill
good.
my popcorn. That scoreboard's going up by 3 points automatically. So
A couple things you also didn't mention.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, unless you have them.
No,
he's
but keep
the
going.
all-time NCAA points leader and ACC, obviously, if he's the NCAA. Now,
Lou Groza
and you
Award
did,
winner,
and
too.
yeah. Now you did mention that he broke the state record in 3 years. Do we put an asterisk next to some of his records because he did play at state for 5 years, thanks to COVID?
But everybody's gonna be playing 5 years now.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair.
but yeah,
Good point. I mean, way to shut that down, Ethan.
Darn you, Ethan.
I think at the time, like and Nicholas
that's a great
Sadie was
point.
but he's also 160 scored 160 more points than Sadie, so it's kind of like statistically he was far and away so much better. It's just kind of hard to. It's a good argument. Like I would definitely hear it.
Talk about besides the
Well,
only thing
and
to
to me,
besides
this-
Chris Dunn is Mark Tremonti.
Yeah.
Well,
you
if
had
I
some-
can make
you had some-
sorry, if I can make one more case though for Dunn, just because people said this in the comments when I put the tweet out there calling him the GOAT, and then we could talk about Mark Tremonti here, is the fact that people said, well, like what was like his biggest moment was him recovering the onside kick versus UNC, and honestly, like, listen, like the fact if he did not execute that onside kick as perfectly as he did, we wouldn't have beaten UNC. We wouldn't have pulled off that miraculous comeback versus UNC. But also to another game, which I thought of too as well.
Hold on. If I can piggyback, my name would just be Greg in the lower left-hand corner.
That's true. You would just be Greg. So
right.
thanks to Chris Dunn.
Chris Dunn is what you're saying, Greg.
No, Chris Dunn owes me. I sent him part of my medical bill. He was not interested in it. So,
Oh, God.
But the other thing as well, a game which I think of that we wouldn't have won if it wasn't for him playing against Florida State, where Devin Leary gets injured, and it was basically,
field goal fest.
Oh yeah, man.
let's just get inside the 40 and kick it.
We did not complete one pass after halftime.
I know
That was probably the
So-
most improbable football win I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they did it. Yeah.
But the play where Florida
Oddly
State
fun and
threw an
enjoyable.
interception to us in the end zone for no reason.
Yeah. Just
They didn't trust their kicker.
they didn't trust their kicker.
Yeah, I remember
Absolutely
that. They
right.
went for it. I forgot. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, because they were inside the 30, I think.
They faded it into the back of the end zone. And
So
I
it's
can't remember
nobody.
which guy grabbed it, but it was like, who was he throwing to?
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Why would you
I think
throw
was
it?
Boykin.
But there are some other guys that have kicked for NC State that have been very good that might be more known from their pro days. Like Mike Kofer kicked for the 49ers. I believe he has at least one Super Bowl ring, might have 2. there was a guy that kicked Steven Huska. I think I'm saying his last name right. Hauschka. Yeah.
Steven Hauschka of the Seahawks.
Kick for a while.
Yeah, kicked for a while. Kicked for the Bills for a while too.
The Bills.
He was he was a 1-year guy at State.
Yeah, and that was that was kind of the problem with Mark, right? Didn't he only kick 1 or 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah. So.
Yep. So again, even after hearing all the evidence here, Greg, I still feel like there is a spacer between Chris Dunn and the rest of the names mentioned.
Layton,
yeah.
I'm Layton. I'm with you personally. Like, I get he's probably more full of himself, but I'm with you, Layton. There's been some good kickers in NC State. You mentioned Sadie, Hauschka, Dunn, Romani.
Yeah.
Romani did win the Luke.
Oh, Hartman. We never talk about Hartman.
Yeah, Damon Hartman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His claim was like he kicked like a 58, 59 yarder at the buzzer to beat Carolina. That's kind of
back in like the early 90s.
Might have been late 80s, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that?
It's like almost lining up the bat signal.
It totally is.
No, it's hard to argue when you have numbers and accolades. Again, that's what a GOAT is, and people can hate on it all they want. Like,
it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he has like an 86. Jeez, we really need to end this. Yeah. When you're the nation's best
I love
kicker,
it, Greg. I love it. You're the man.
So my biggest question then becomes like, does he become a college football Hall of Famer?
Yeah. I mean, again,
he probably does. Honestly,
probably should.
Greg.
Probably
200 for 200 on extra points.
I think we're all kind of grimacing at it because we just think, oh, he's full of himself. It's like the dude was pretty great. I mean,
that's insane. 200 for 200 extra points. That's crazy.
He's got hardware. He's got records.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that don't scream GOAT, I don't know what does. I mean, it would be like saying like LeBron James isn't the GOAT and he's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA.
But Michael Jordan's the GOAT.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So
I guess what you went to UNC, but
I hate saying it. I hate saying it, but I'm just saying, like, when you're the all-time leading scorer in a sport, like if that don't put you in the conversation, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. All right. So with that being said, though, I do want to give the floor real quick to my man Ethan here, who's been doing some. Again, I already mentioned the Patreon one time, which again, it's the craziest value there is. Again, getting 12 videos a month for only $5, plus our members only rumor chat too as well. But Ethan,
plus
what you
today
been working
was a freebie.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. So Ethan, what what you been working on recently, and what you work on here today?
Yeah. Well, I thought of this last night, and I was so excited about it I couldn't sleep. Let me ask you guys this.
Ooh.
Who do you think will be NC State's starting quarterback in 12 months?
Yeah,
So again, the 5-for-5 rule being a thing for sure. Yeah.
Well, Bailey's only at 4, so yeah. But just real quick, just give me a name. Doesn't have to be, don't need a spiel. Just
you don't need context.
Man, I'm gonna say my only thing is a little thing. If Bailey wants to come back, it's Bailey.
But will he? That's the question.
Well, you said for him to provide a name, so Macon said Bailey.
So your name is Bailey?
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Will he? No, I think
we need a name, sir.
I think it's gonna be Gunner. Because I think Bailey's gonna have a good enough season. A good enough season to go.
Layton?
Will Wilson, baby.
Greg?
That's a
fourth and Will. Fourth and Will.
Well, I'm gonna break this tie. I'm going Gunner Rivers.
I think,
and that's not necessarily who I agree with, but you asked me who I think will be the quarterback.
Who do you think it'll be?
I think it's Gunner.
I think this is going to be a fascinating next 12 months. I think this is going to be just fast. Like I can't think of another way to describe it. So I talked about that today.
Yeah,
it's not that big of a it's not that big of a storyline right now. It's July 27th. But in 4 or 5 months, this is all anybody's going to be talking about.
The wheels are in motion.
I really
think there's 3 options.
Bailey's going to have a good enough season where he's going to want to go, and State's going to be like, man, go for it. go on.
Or it's good enough to where he's going to get paid somewhere else, and he's not going to get paid enough his first year in the NFL, where he can make, again, one of those where you can make more in college, especially the way
to go do it this year and he didn't. Like, isn't that a thing happened this year? So what made him do it?
We
next
talked
year?
about that. Ethan and I talked about this on a previous podcast. Why we think he's still here. Like,
So would State not be the highest bidder again next year?
I don't know. Not next year.
It depends on the season he gives you.
Is this going to
I
be
talked
another
about- I
Russell
talked about it
Wilson
for-
situation?
It depends on
gonna
the
play
surplus
baseball,
value that we
Kind of
get.
thing.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? We've got.
I
Mike
talked
Lynn
about
waiting in
this.
the background.
Yeah.
There's going to be some
Yeah.
conversations had. That's for sure.
And Layton, I like your pick of Will Wilson. Would you want to be quarterback with Gunnar Rivers staring over your
Absolutely
shoulder?
not. Absolutely not.
So anyway, I
not.
talked about that today on the Patreon. It was a fun conversation. I look forward to expanding that conversation.
Well, let me ask you this question:
Obviously,
do you think Bailey or Rivers will have a stronger NIL pool?
For next season,
Like
bringing money
do
in?
you think next season the NIL that Gunnar Rivers, an alum at NC State, could get over Bailey? You think Bailey would be stronger?
are you talking about
Ooh.
who would get paid more?
no. Who could pull in,
Or
or
who
like
could
who could pull
Yeah,
in
who's
the
a better
most
More
money?
NIL.
Well, I think you're saying this wrong. I
That's
think
a good question.
I think you're saying who can drum up more support
Correct.
from the fan base for
Excitement.
money in general, right?
Correct.
Maybe not necessarily NIL, but
Nostalgia is going to
anything.
be something for fans. So
Yeah.
It is. To me, if Bailey, I like that question. If Bailey has a big year, I think the answer is Bailey. If people are just
Maybe.
kind of tired of Bailey, I think the answer is Gunnar Rivers.
Listen, there will be some interesting bodily reactions from NC State fans seeing a number 17
Bodily?
run onto the field. Dude, there'll be sweat, and there'll be some head nods like, oh my God, there's a 17 running onto the field right now, man. Oh, dude, I'm telling
thank
you,
you for
man.
clarifying, Layton.
I the way I see it is I know these conversations are being had, and
100%.
Because Greg's in the room when it's
no, but these discussions were probably had before
Pulses.
Gunnar Rivers committed. Like I'm
100%.
sure there is a plan that was put in place. And it could be an instance where, again, I have no inside information on this. I know Will Wilson was paid nicely for a backup for a quarterback this year because you need the insurance plan
Mhm.
next year. I don't think Will Wilson's going to blow another year just to sit.
No.
I just don't. That'll be 3 years because at some
Nor
point,
should he.
right? Agreed. At some point, teams aren't going to be as interested in you when you have no film at the college level, and all they're seeing is
But
you running the
if
ball.
Bailey leaves, is it a quarterback competition? Is it a true
It
quarterback
should be.
competition?
It should be, but I don't think it would be.
Well, yeah, you can't put all your eggs in the Gunnar Rivers basket, but again,
We
like
did for his dad.
Why
yeah,
not?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, you would bring another quarterback in. Like it's not
have
like
to.
it's just going to be
Well,
Gunnar
again,
Rivers.
it's just
right.
It's
but
a true freshman. That's just.
But
the concern,
but you're bringing another quarterback that has experience and has like they're just there to have a good time, right? Make a few dollars. Like if they're shoved into service, that's fine. But
Yeah.
I don't think they're bringing in a quarterback to challenge Gunnar Rivers.
It's a Tad Hudson type. Like it's a
Ted
Yep.
Hudson.
Tad Hudson.
He talked
All right,
about it
y'all.
a lot, I remember.
Yeah, well, so with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, again, make sure to go
It's a good
check out our
conversation.
Patreon. Again, only $5 a month. Link down in the description below. Go sign up, join here today, and you can check out that amazing video from Ethan plus 11 other videos per month for only $5 a month. So make sure to go and check it out. But with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, thank you. Supports the channel, and also too as well, make sure that our video gets out there for more NC State fans. And if you haven't already, Wolfpack Nation, make sure also give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We are active on those, so make sure to go and follow us on all of our social media. And also too, again, just make sure to give a big shout out in the comments too as well. Which
Let us know how bad
debate-
Layton's doing.
Yeah, okay. With that being said, Wolfpack Nation, though, we will see you all soon. And as always, y'all, go.